Welcome back to Four Corners, guys. How's everyone doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. You know, a little disappointed in the Chiefs last week, so a little upset about that. But I am the fantasy champion.
Yes. I have to mention
How you feel about that, Tanner?
You're cutting out. On to the next subject.
Mike, how you doing over there, buddy?
I'm chilling, man. A little under the weather, so I'm gonna be down an octave or two. I guess that'll be nice. But
hey, take one of those side seat packs, bro.
Yep. Emergency.
Yep. So,
all right.
So Tanner, you said you had a little surprise for us, so we'll just start it out, I guess, with your surprise.
Yeah, kinda. So, if you have any like pages up, minimize them for a second, just because I knew you guys would cheat if I told you. But so basically, we're just gonna go alphabetical, and you're gonna try to guess what the top 5 players at each position finished in fantasy through week 15. And so Cam will go, then Nolan, then Mike, then Nolan. And if you get one wrong, you're out. So you have to name the top 5 quarterbacks in fantasy football right now after week 15.
Now, do we have to do it alphabetical?
No, alphabetical as in you 3 picking.
Okay.
So you can.
Okay, so the top
There
5.
there is a tie at 5th, so there's 6 quarterbacks.
So does Cameron have to say all
no
his
cheat
5?
neither.
I only have to get 5.
No, you go, and then if you get it right, then Mike
You
goes.
survive.
Okay.
Yeah, until it comes back around to you.
Oh, you guys gotta be kidding me!
And you said specifically.
I know you're gonna.
Hold
don't
on.
check. Oh.
You said
Also,
specifically
that's-
fantasy. You did not say.
Yeah, our
Like-
fantasy league, top 5 scoring
I'll
Okay.
say
of fantasy points.
Okay.
So Cam, you want to go first?
Patrick Mahomes.
All right, ding, ding, ding. Mike, your turn.
That's number. He was number 1.
I mean, it doesn't have to be in order. Just
Okay,
any
it's just top 5.
He's number 1.
He is number 1.
Yeah, he
All
is.
right, Andrew Luck.
Ding, ding, ding. Nolan, 3 left or 4 left because there's a tie at 5th.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is 3 left. Cam.
I'm gonna say Philip Rivers,
Yep.
Rivers is.
and then there's
And then Mike's turn. There's
So
2
Philip
left.
Rivers was in as well.
Oh
Yes,
man.
he was tied for 5th, so he's in.
Oh, I know one.
There's 2 left.
Come on, Mike.
Fantasy.
You don't lose anything, so don't
Come on,
go
bud.
cheat. Don't try
okay.
to cheat.
I'm gonna. I don't even know, dude.
Can I take a spot? Can I take a spot?
No.
Ah.
Fine.
Hurry.
Big Ben.
Yes.
Gosh, that was
1
mine.
left.
Oh, 1 left.
Doesn't matter. We're going to running backs next. Make it quicker. Just
Oh.
if you don't know, you can just bail
Okay, I don't
out.
know. I don't know who the 6th one is.
I'm gonna say
Right.
Cam Newton.
No, Cam Newton's horrible.
Jared Goff.
Matt Ryan.
Oh, Matt Ryan.
Oh,
Right.
All right, running backs.
Quickly running back. Start with Mike. Top 5.
I'll talk early. Easy.
Early is on there. Number 2.
I'm gonna go with Barkley.
Yep. Number 1.
Nolan's running,
Oh,
so
I
Mike.
guess.
Nolan's doing something.
So Nolan's back in for the running backs. If he hurries.
Well, he's busy at the moment. So.
Oh. All right. You guys just go then. Mike, you're up.
I'm gonna have to say Elliott for sure.
Yep. He's number 5. 2 left. Cam?
Has McCaffrey already been said? Of course.
No, but he is in there. There's 1 left, Mike.
He's in there as well. Interesting.
He's number 6.
James Conner.
Ooh, he was 6th.
Ooh.
Alvin Kamara was 4th.
Of course.
Okay.
All right.
I thought it was-
I'm back.
Last one, receivers. You're all back in it, Nolan. You start.
Oh, receiver Julio Jones.
Leo's number 5. Barely.
Wow.
Tyreek Hill.
He's number 1.
Tyreek's number 1.
You said Tyreek Hill. DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh,
Good one.
He's number 6.
Oh,
Barely
6?
missed it.
Hey.
By one, he's 1 point
Oh.
behind Julio.
I
the
think
Vikings.
6s. God.
Thielen. Adam Thielen.
Yeah, he's tied for third. 2 left.
Two left.
I'm gonna go with
That's a hard one. Oh. No.
Cam's up.
so we've got Julio,
That's hard.
Tyreek, and
I just skip it.
Julio, Tyreek, and Thielen.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Michael Thomas
How did you
was
forget him?
number 8.
Whoa!
The last two were number 2, Devontae Adams, number 3, Antonio Brown.
I was gonna say Antonio
Oh, I
Brown
thought
too.
it
Well, Adams, I should have known. I was talking about it today. 1,300 yards.
I would do tight ends, but you guys would fail miserably. So
Oh, shut your mouth.
No, I think we would do all right because there's only
All
5
right.
tight ends in the NFL that are even.
All right, so
let's go quickly tight ends then. Somebody start.
Me, Eric Hebron.
Ebron is.
Kelsey.
Is in. Kelsey's in. 2 left.
George Kittle.
Kittle's number
Cook.
3. And Jared Cook's number 5.
Dirty. That was
Oh.
easy.
All
Okay.
right. You can
So
start.
let's move on, boys. For we're going our pin of miseries for last week, guys. So Cameron, you had the Eagles. You convinced yourselves to take.
I
You had the
doubt
Cowboys.
Yeah.
And you convinced yourselves to take the Eagles last week, which
What is
was
he
crazy.
not-
You would have won both games too. That's the crazy thing. But so you lost both of those. So you owe us 3. I won with Washington guys last week. They beat the Jaguars, so that was a nice slide by. But I still lost the first week when I had who did I have? Arizona.
Is it not on there?
No, it's not
Oh.
on there. I think Arizona or somebody,
Yeah.
but I lost that week, so I have to draw for that one and the week prior. Mike, who'd you have?
I had Jacksonville last week and Chicago this week, or last week. Chicago last week, Jacksonville 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so you
So
went what?
Chicago won. Sorry, I thought we were talking about our 2 teams there.
Okay, so yeah, you went 1-1, and then Tanner, you went 2-0. You lucky man, and you had probably the worst
Yeah.
teams out of everybody, which is the crazy part. All right, guys. So I guess we're just gonna go right into our game lines for the week.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go. Yeah. So who wants to go first? Cammy
I'll go.
or
Or
Tanner?
wherever. All right, I'll go real quick. My first game is the Redskins on the road at Tennessee plus 10. I think that's a big line, and the Redskins have been doing decent.
Yeah.
My second one is the Vikings at the Lions minus 6. I think they win by more than 6. I think their offense is starting to play a little better. And then the Texans plus 1.5. I think everyone's kind of overhyping the Eagles. They're getting flashbacks of Nick Foles making that playoff run, and I don't think they're that great. I think they've kind of slid by the last few weeks against good teams somehow, but I don't think it continues. And then my last game line is the Bears minus 4. I've kind of been riding the Bears lines recently, and it's been working out. I think they're a really good team, and they just don't get enough credit. And then my over-under, I'll take under on 46 points in the Houston Texans versus the Eagles games. The Eagles game, I think both defenses are playing well right now, enough to where there won't be that many points scored this game. So
I like it. Cammy?
I like a couple of your lines, Tanner, so just so I won't steal any. I'm going to go with the Cardinals plus 14.5. Gurley might not play. I just feel like the Rams pretty much have it all locked up. And that's a high spread, so I like that one. I'm also going to go with the Falcons minus 3 over the Panthers. They've been on a slide anyway. Newton's not playing. I don't expect them to run McCaffrey very much either. There's basically no point at this spot in the season. So I like that one. I'm also going to try to go with the Chargers minus 4.5. I feel like the Ravens depended on Jackson a lot, to where this defense is a lot better than the ones they've faced, and I feel like they can get a touchdown for sure. And then my last one, I'm going to go with I just really like this line, so I'm going to copy it here. I'm going to go with the Texans plus 1.5. I agree with you. I think they're overhyping the Eagles. And then for my over-under, I hope this is a high-scoring game, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs and Seahawks. I need Baldwin to score a couple of touchdowns for me in my championship this week. So over is 54.5. Nolan.
Dirty. I like that, man, because guess what? We're going to slide right into my over and under. I'm 5-0-1, calling the Chiefs over and under, so I'm going to continue with that. I'm going to go with the over. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game on both sides. I do think the Chiefs are going to end up winning. So I'm actually going to take their line 2 of their -3. So that's one of my picks as well. I'm taking the over and -3. I think it's going to be like a 33-30 game, guys. This is going to be close, but I think the Chiefs are going to squeeze it out. My next game I'm going to pick, I'm actually going to go with Chicago, -4.5 against San Fran at San Fran. So I like Chicago's defense. I think they're going to eat San Fran's offense. They haven't been doing anything over there. So actually, that's a lie because they destroyed Denver. As long as they can hold San Fran's tight end, Kittle,
Yeah, he's a beast.
then that's San Fran's offense. So I like Chicago there, guys. My next game, I'm going to take Atlanta at Carolina. Atlanta's -3. Carolina just looks horrible. Cam Newton's out this week, guys. So if you haven't played in your fantasy championship, pull him. He's not going to play. And I wouldn't even want to play him if he was going to play, just how he threw last game. But I don't like Carolina. The only thing they got is McCaffrey. And I think Atlanta is just an all-around better team. So I think they're going to take the win there. And then I got one more, right? Yeah. I'm going to go Buffalo Bills, guys, at New England. They're plus 13.5. I like Buffalo Bills on this because Josh Allen, I think he's going to run all over New England, and I think they're going to keep it close. They're not going to win, but I do think they're going to keep it a lot closer than 13.5. So those are my picks.
I like them.
All right. Last but not least here, I think I'm going to start off Arizona plus 14 as well. Since Leftwich took over as offensive coordinator, that's just, a different offense. David Johnson has jumped significantly up fantasy points per game, kind of back to where they drafted him. And that offense just, it moves the football better. LA is on a 2-game losing streak, and Gurley may not play. And like you established, Cam, they have pretty much the division locked up there. They faltered a little bit in the number 1 seed race, but I think they try to make up ground. But Arizona keeps it close. Second game, I'm also taking Chicago. I've liked Chicago all year. They look like a team that can make a deep playoff run. Defensively, they're built they're a cold weather built team. Yep. Tough on the run in the middle. So I think their -4 is a good line. I'm also taking the Vikings. What is that line?
6.
6. Sorry, I'm just confirming. Yes, 6 at Detroit. Detroit was terrible against Buffalo last week. Minnesota's I don't know if it was just a fluke game. I think they're going to continue this hot offensive streak they're on. They're going to score a lot of points. Minnesota there. And then I'm also going to take LA, a team that I've also liked all season. I almost went Indianapolis, but that's a big line at 9. So I'm going to go LA. I think they make stops on third down against Baltimore. That's something Baltimore does really well. But with even if I don't know, I haven't heard the latest on Melvin Gordon, but even if he sits out again, I still think LA keeps it at least close enough, and then scores at the end to win it. My over/under, I'm looking at that Miami-Jacksonville game, 38. I think people are underestimating Miami a little bit offensively. I think they have their bad games, but I think they can move the football, and they have the skill players to score some points. So that over/under at 38 is a little low for me, especially with I think Fournette's had a couple bad games, and I think he breaks out a little bit as well. So over/under 38, I'm going over there.
Ooh, riding that Fournette train. I like it, Mikey. So, guys, Cameron, you want to do the season surprises so far this year for fantasy?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, sure. I just kind of had a couple here to whereas I thought it was pretty crazy that we had a discussion at the beginning of the year who we all thought the Broncos running back was going to be. I was one that said Royce Freeman was going to come in and win the job. And then, little behold, did
Philip Lindsay
come along. So just a crazy stat. He finished top 5 in rushing yards with 991. And I mean, he still has the
That's
last 2
beast.
games to go. So it could be that rookie running back that comes in and hits 1,000 yards, which I think was a pretty cool stat. And then just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on Homie, man. That guy is a beast. He's got, as of right now, he's got 4,786 yards and 41 touchdown passes and 11 interceptions. Is he going to get and then just
45 here.
you guys' thoughts on James Conner and his effect on Bell's absence and what you think of James Conner. And then Amari Cooper's resurgence when he went to Dallas. And then, of course, the news today of Josh Gordon being suspended indefinitely by the NFL.
So I guess I'll take the – what do you guys want to take? I'll take Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, well, I think he is going to catch Peyton Manning. He's at 40 catches, 55. I honestly believe he can catch Peyton Manning's 55 TD record.
2 games left.
2 games left. I think they're going to have to throw at Seattle all over. And a crazy little thing I was looking up today on ESPN, I was reading an article in there about Le'Veon Bell. And Kansas City has the opportunity to get Le'Veon Bell next season. They have enough capital to get Le'Veon Bell. And it was interesting to read that. I was like, I've never even thought of that. And I don't think any of us ever thought of that either.
No, I think it's an obvious choice. I think that's definitely, especially since Kareem Hunt left. The last 2 weeks, I mean, they've tried to find someone who's – Spencer Ware's played pretty well, I'm not going to lie, but adding an all-pro like that is something that – I mean, that would just make that offense in another tier compared to everybody else in the league. So.
Oh, yeah. So that's my viewpoint on Patrick Mahomes. He's a beast this year. I did not see that coming.
He is. He's fun to watch.
He is.
Yeah, and then I'll just kind of talk about some of the surprises at running back, like Philip Lindsay.
Yeah.
Before the season started, I was listening to some things, and they were saying that the past like 5 or 6 years, there's been 2 rookie running backs in the top 10 that finished the season in fantasy football. And like about halfway through the year, I was like, there's no way that's going to happen. But right now, Philip Lindsay's 10 and Saquon's like 1 or 2, depending on your league.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy how those kind of average out, and somehow some undrafted free agent rookie comes in and makes the top 10 running back in fantasy, which is just something that you don't really look at in the offseason. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. And then also I want to point out, like, at the start of the season, no one was talking about James White, and he snuck his way up in the top 10 too. It's certain players like that James White from New England. Yeah, it's just players like that you don't expect. And I think going into the season, you look at the draft and you're like, oh, Rashard Penny got drafted. He's definitely starting for Seattle. Sony Michel got drafted.
Exactly. I was that guy.
He's definitely starting for New England. Or Royce Freeman got drafted. He's definitely starting for Denver. And it just makes you think going into next season, you get all these projections and you kind of just buy into them instantly. You kind of have to take a step back and look at, Tom Brady's been so comfortable with James White. They're starting to spread the ball more. So maybe if you would have, kind of taken a step back from the media's projections and taken a look at it, from your own perspective, it might have gotten you a top 10 running back, So it's just stuff like that you have to keep your eye on.
So how do you feel about next season with Sony Michel? Do you think he's a top 10 running back?
It's hard to say with the way they're using him. He had like a 3-week span where he looked like a beast, but he hasn't looked great the last few weeks, and I don't know if they just aren't as impressed with him or if that's just their offense. But
James White coming out of the backfield,
a lot of it will have to do with Gronk and Brady's decisions to stay. But I think James White is here to stay because he's been with the team so long and he's had so much success this season that I don't see why they would get rid of him or do anything like that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I think his success stays, and Sony Michel kind of is that, that late running back 2 range where you can't trust him every week going forward.
What you gonna talk about, Mike?
Amari Cooper going to Dallas. I mean, I think last week was kind of an interesting result there. Watching him put up a goose, and that surprised me a little bit. I think it was kind of a fluke game. I think he's more than added a dimension to that offense. They're definitely taking it up a notch. I think they're still going to close out the NFC East this week. But I think Amari Cooper just adds something for them going forward. I think it's something that they can spread the field for Ezekiel Elliott. I think Ezekiel Elliott starts to catch more passes out of the backfield and add another dimension there, just because of the downfield threat from Amari Cooper. I still think they need something in the tight end area of the team there before they make any big strides as an NFC Championship or Super Bowl. But they have the defense to compete in the playoffs. So if they keep it close, I would watch out for what Amari Cooper offers that offense.
Okay, I got one question for you guys. If you were in the championship game this week and you had Derrick Henry on your bench, are you willing to start him? He has over 400 rushing yards and 6 TDs in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think he has one of the better matchups for sure. Obviously, it would depend on who you're starting him over, but I'm not afraid to start him anymore the past 2 weeks, and it just looking at back what he did last season at the end of the year, it seems to be his forte, where he just runs hard, and some of these teams that are out of the playoffs don't want to go as hard as they can to try to tackle him. So I think he's having success for that reason. Possibly.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've been really down on Derrick Henry. I think at this point, 2 weeks in a row like that, you can't not start him, at least in a flex spot. Especially if you have a decision to make there in a championship week, in a semifinal week. It's something that you're going for a home run, you're going for a win there. So I think there's no loss. I mean, I think there's a greater loss in not playing him than putting him into a flex spot there.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you guys.
What's that? Bust or what?
We can do boom or bust, or do you guys want to do a little records challenge real quick? All right, we'll do a records challenge real quick. All right, guys, I'm going to give you a record, and you must tell me who this player is. All right? Here's the first one. After week 5, this player passed Larry Fitzgerald to become the leader in receptions his first 5 years in the league. The player now has 429 receptions in his first 5 years.
Antonio Brown. I don't know.
I'm going to say Jarvis Landry.
It's knowing Nolan, it's probably Tyler.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Cameron is right. Jarvis Landry has 429 career receptions in 5 seasons. That is crazy.
He's a beast.
He is a beast. All right, here's the next one. Who is the only QB to have 4 consecutive games with 30 or more completed passes?
Ooh, I think I know this one too.
This season, or is it like ever?
Ever.
Peyton Manning.
Who'd you say, Tanner?
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Cameron?
No, I'll let Mike go because I really think I know this one.
Mike did go.
He did go. Who'd you say?
I said Phil Rivers.
Nope. Kirk Cousins. He completed 35 passes in week 2, 40 passes in week 3, 36 passes in week 4, and 30 passes in week 5. That was the first player ever in NFL history to complete at least 30 passes in 4 consecutive games. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
All right, guys. So let's give the users or the listeners one thing that you think is important going into the championship week if you're playing. What are you looking for?
High ceilings.
I'm looking for a strong running back core.
You going strong running back?
Yeah.
I say you just stick to your stars. Don't worry about matchups as much. Just play the guys that got you there.
Yeah, I like that, Tanner. And what do you say, Mike?
There's always one decision to make in your lineup, I feel like, at least every week. Always one player or one spot that you're not too sure of. I mean, especially if you're starter heavy, which I feel a lot of these teams making playoff pushes are. So it definitely, what Tanner says, obviously stick to what has gotten you there. But that one decision, I would definitely look at a high ceiling.
Do you start James Conner?
I don't think he plays.
You don't think he's gonna play?
We'll see. I mean, they're fighting for the division there.
So would you start him, Mike? Would you
No,
start?
I'm not gonna answer. I wouldn't. I would say no at this point, but we're not. I mean, obviously, there's no games until Saturday. Sunday's what that wins that game
Oh,
is,
yeah.
right? So I
You'd
mean,
wait till the
it's
last
game
second,
time.
but-
No, I'm not making that decision, but
Yeah.
If he's starting and healthy, I'm playing him. Just because they've been shown to stick to one running back, they don't really split the carries or anything. So if he plays, he's getting the work.
Yeah. He just has that high ankle sprain. All right, you guys want to add anything else? So, I mean, hey, that's it, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Four Corners, guys. Tune in next week. Oh, we're going to start getting out more videos here sometime soon. So we're going to start talking about that, start giving you guys more episodes to listen to, get more sports going too. And we might have a guest next week on our show talking college football for the big bowls coming up. So tune in next week, guys, and
Later.
have a good time.
later.